Yeah, one thing that I'm curious about as you talk about your shift to residential, how does that impact the commercial and the office buildings? I mean, should I would think that you would want to make sure that you pay attention so that when you do open back up, that your building and your office space isn't infested with different pests. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. And my thoughts are the exact same as yours. However, in March and in April, we didn't know enough about COVID and everyone panicked. So the phones rang, the government agencies, the school systems, the cities that we service, our commercial clients, they said, hey, we want to put the brakes on this. We're not dropping the service. We just don't want you guys in our building until we figure this thing out. Everyone was trying to figure COVID out. So unfortunately, we went 2 and in some cases 3 months where there was a lot of lost revenue because we weren't able to get into those facilities to service our clients. And again, we had to have some conversations here in the office. We had to make some adjustments and some changes. And this basically went to how do we communicate to the client that we can do this in a safe way. We need to get into your facility so that when your employees come back, as you said, they aren't coming back to a pest infestation. And that was a series of emails, a series of text messages, and a series of phone calls to convince the decision makers to let our guys back in after 2 or 3 months and to start servicing these sites so that when the employees came back, they were coming back to a pest-free environment.
So how do you combat that? That's gonna be like the word of the day for me, combat. I never use that word, but I'm gonna use it for you today. How do you combat that conversation, that fear from those agencies, and then the fact that it still seems like people still don't know really anything about COVID, right? So how you're trying to convince them, hey, we're gonna do this in a safe way. It's unclear what a real safe way is. So how do you present that so that you guys can get in there and not lose, additional revenue throughout the whole process?
So a couple of ways. The first way, let them know you care. That's the main thing. Hey, listen, we get it. We understand that you want to be safe. You want a safe environment for your employees. And we care about that. We hear you. So our technicians, when they're on site, they're going to be in full PPE. They're going to have their respirator on. They're going to have their gloves on. We're going to sanitize our equipment before we bring it into that environment. And we're going to sanitize our vehicles. We're going to sanitize our office. We're taking all the necessary steps. As our technicians come into work, if they have a temperature, if they have signs of COVID, they have any of the symptoms, we're sending them back home. We're not going to send a potentially infected technician out to your location. We're not even going to send an asymptomatic technician out to your location. If our technician tests positive for COVID, they are quarantined for 14 days. They do not come to work. They're not going to put the rest of our employees at jeopardy, and we're not going to put your staff and your building at jeopardy as well.